Not only does Diego Luna star as Cassian Andor in the Disney Plus prequel series Andor, but he also serves as an executive producer. As an EP, Luna is involved very early before pre-production in helping create the big-picture understanding of what each episode of the story is going to achieve. He then takes his knowledge to set, with an understanding to make sure everyone, from the background actors to the episode directors, is moving in the correct direction, creatively. This actually helps the show achieve its cohesive look across the 12-episode season with different directors at the helm. As a producer, Luna says, the most interesting element of the season is that Gilroy split the story into blocks, and each block belonged to a different director and writer, and the directors had the freedom to bring their own perspective to their episodes. Everything has to be happening at the same time. I am the guy on set, where Tony Gilroy is not, and where Kathleen Kennedy just comes to visit once in a while, Luna says. Basically, he's the one on set making sure that the showrunner's vision continues and is explained to everyone, and that shared vision is very important. But what makes the series so suspenseful is how many characters aren't moving in that same direction. We know where Cassian ends up, thanks to the anthology film, Rogue One. But what the series is about is how the rest of the ensemble makes it to their own ending that sets up the film. The goal for Cassian in Season 2 is to build his understanding of what a rebellion is with his own agenda and his own moral standards. Season 2 is about love, the love stories you find in fractured communities. And it's with that idea that Luna developed Cassian's evolution for Season 2. You wouldn't fight for a revolution if it wasn't for love, he said. When Season 2 begins, Cassian isn't the same person we met at the beginning of the series. He has been radicalized into a rebel spy with all his anger directed at the Empire. Luna credits this anger to what happened to Marva, his adoptive mother in Season 1, played by Fiona Shaw, as the catalyst for all his decision-making in Season 2. He's been given a lot of responsibilities now, so it's far from that guy that was difficult to trust and difficult to read. Right now, he's a man on a mission, but he still doesn't feel part of something bigger, Luna says. It's clear Cassian doesn't feel like he's part of this community of rebels yet, and Luna knew there was still a long way to go for his character to become the Cassian Andor fans meet at the start of Rogue One. It was important for Luna to drop subtle moments and hints that will over time show his evolution to the leader, like in the scene where he takes time to reassure Nia, his anxious contact inside the Scener test facility. Moments like these show how he's been changing over time and becoming the person that helps lead the fight against the Empire. Luna heavily leaned into small moments like these so that the transformation would be more cohesive rather than sudden. And in order to play the leader, Luna had to see Cassian and his team as more of a family unit than an army. The characters in the show always find a way to start all over again since the Empire taught them to leave everything behind. They always stick together, move together, and make sure they can take care of each other. Luna understood that Season 2 had a strong theme about family and what that means in the Star Wars universe. Anytime the Empire comes after someone his character loves, the feisty leader comes out of Andor. The biggest thing Luna had to understand about Cassian going into Season 2 is that his character would sacrifice everything for the rebellion, even when he's not sure he agrees with their decisions. We talk about people who bring change, but we don't think about what they left behind and what makes them different from us, says Luna about Cassian. The series is a story of a guy who shows audiences that big change comes with many people making the right decision, and Cassian is just one of them. The show's theme is an example of what regular people can do when they come together. Luna embraced his natural Mexican accent to play Cassian in both the film and the TV series, seeing it as a key part of the character's backstory. This was a first for the franchise, which has mostly featured actors with American, Australian, Canadian, or British accents. I think it's a modern approach. We live in a different today, Luna says, of comparing the series to the original trilogy. It helped the idea that Cassian was someone from a marginalized background, which resonated with Gilroy. Luna himself even suggested that he also dubbed Cassian's dialogue for the Spanish-language versions of both the film and the series, which helped add another authentic layer to his interpretation of the character. Luna credits Gilroy's craft for helping him create the lived-in experience of going from a Star Wars fan to starring in his own show. Since day one, Gilroy was clear on the objective of the show. It's about regular people and their very personal lives. And in crafting Cassian's backstory, Gilroy was intentional in not falling into the larger-than-life Jedi archetype of other Star Wars protagonists. He found inspiration in real history, real people, real stories. He didn't want to research cinema at all, because that's where the team was hoping not to end up. They wanted the character and the series to remain grounded, and history has all those answers. Because Luna has a Mexican background, he looked more into the history of his country with all the stories he heard growing up. He also researched more of the social movements that have happened in Mexico. A lot of those references ended up in Andor. Gilroy took all the references in terms of the social and political climate for revolution or rebellion. He brought in the context of the history he lived in, the history he grew up in, and the history he learned. And he weaved all those ideas into the scripts and storyline. The actors, including Luna, then added their own inspirations and references to shape each character in their own unique ways. When Luna originally got cast as Cassian for Rogue One, he developed a backstory that focused more on why Cassian sounds different than the characters around him. Why does he have an accent? Where does he come from? What did he leave behind? He ended up coming up with a story about someone who feels marginalized and can't take it anymore because of everything he's lost. It thankfully connected with exactly where Gilroy was taking the character when they both signed onto the project. Luna thought a lot about his background now, since this was a prequel to the first time we saw Cassian. He wanted to ensure that every decision and every choice that he applied to the character had a logical reason applied to it. Rogue One is a film about one particular event, whereas Andor is more of a biographical series of what led up to the point of the film through the lens of Cassian. So a lot more detail had to go in this time around, like who's around the character, who matters to him, what happened in his childhood, what are his strengths and weaknesses. Luckily, since Gilroy wrote Rogue One alongside Chris Weitz, a lot of the details were already laid down as the end goal. In the film, Cassian always mentions a dark and depressing past. The series is one of the most human and grounded series the franchise has ever done. The focus became more on the human experience in a galaxy far, far away, rather than the lightsaber battles and pew-pew action scenes that we've come to know and love throughout the franchise's history. Let's also talk about a crucial detail to the series: continuity, and specifically, Luna's facial hair for Cassian. Since the series takes place over several years, the makeup department designed a plan on how to make Cassian age over time, with the added stress of the rebellion taking a toll on his look. But the plan was ruined, thanks to the strikes. It was a weird schedule because we didn't shoot in order, and sometimes blocks will kinda like happen at the same time or have to interact, he said. Luna would sometimes make the wrong choice and trim or cut his facial hair when he wasn't supposed to. But the makeup department had a great technique. They would put glue on his face and real hair on his face and then trim it and cut it to make the facial hair look as authentic as possible. This attention to detail is what makes the show believable and real. Diego Luna took his preparation to play Cassian Andor very seriously. It wasn't just about crafting a new character in a prequel series, but more about finishing the puzzle piece of who this character is and why he does what he does in Rogue One. With help from showrunner Tony Gilroy and several departments like the makeup department, the production ensured continuity on every level to ensure that fans got the best Star Wars series ever created.